to Growth, and I am one of the co hosts, Yashika Bimford. And I have an awesome guest with us today, Mr. Robert Hunt himself. Welcome to the show,
Thank
Robert.
you. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
yes. This show is so exciting because it is going to talk about accountability. And a lot of people, yes, a lot of
People
people in my
people
audience,
listening going, no, that's not exciting.
that is so exciting. You know why, Robert? Because it holds so many people back. So
Mm,
we want to help people today move forward and
agreed.
grow.
Right on.
Move forward and grow. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to dive in. We are going to dive in because you had some critical turning points that got you to the spot that you're in right now. So let's talk about that, like what that turning point was that revealed to you like why accountability is so important and how that led to you writing two books, correct? Two books.
No, just one
Um,
book.
just one book?
That
Okay.
was enough.
So
Trust
okay.
me.
So I have the accountability dude and no one cares until you do.
Yeah, my title, I call myself as the accountability dude. The book is
Okay.
titled Nobody Cares Until You Do, because it's all about accountability.
That's right. Let's talk about that. Like,
Okay.
what was that moment that said, I need to put this in a book so people can learn and grow from this?
Well, we're documenting the things that we've learned. My friend Salem Thine and I wrote this book together. He's a client of mine. He's been in our CEO groups for 6 years now. And we've always talked about accountability from a business perspective.
Right.
And we talk about this a lot in business. But I don't think people understand what accountability really means. And the things that we learned the hard way are we're trying to spare people from having to go through on their own. So
Exactly.
we
Listen,
put this in a
people.
book for that because we don't want you to have to go through the same junk that we went through in our
Right.
own lives.
Right. Right. And I love that because, so many people in business, just in particular, they want great things. They have in their minds, like, I want to, obtain to this standard in my business, but they don't realize that it takes work and it takes you holding yourself accountable to
Right,
reaching those
right.
goals.
And in our personal life, it's the same way. I mean, there's no difference between business and personal life because I want a marriage that's up here. I want kids who are up here. I want to have a faith that is bold and free and
Right.
enjoy my life with my faith. There's nothing that I want to suck. No
Right.
one says, I think I'll let my finances be horrible. That's okay. I'll let that one go. But we do that. We do that by default when we don't take accountability for things.
Mm,
And there is a big difference between accountability and responsibility. So we have to talk
wow,
about that because
let's
I
talk
think
about that.
people think they're being accountable when they're not.
Wow. Dig deeper into that. Let's talk
Okay, let's
about the difference between the
sure. So the basic definition of accountability is you own it. And
mm,
it's accountability is not a bad thing. It's a really great thing because when you think about it, if I take accountability for everything, I now have the power to change anything. And so for me, I looked at accountability as a young man as you're getting in trouble because you were accountable for this,
right,
right? I'm going
right.
to hold you accountable. It's a threat, right? But in reality, accountability is freedom and power and joy
Love
and hope.
that.
And so when you start looking at it as the positive side of what accountability is, you want more of it because
Yeah,
when I own it, I have the power to change it. Now,
wow.
when it comes to
Love that.
responsibility is doing something, accountability is doing the thing that you need to do.
Mhm.
And accountability is proactive when you're looking at the results you want to get at the end and working backwards. So, the simplest example I could think of is if you have kids, you're responsible as an adult to feed them, right?
Right,
That's the responsible thing to do. You should give them
right.
food.
We
And
should want
so
to
if I can take them to McDonald's and let them have a happy meal and go, here, eat this. Okay, then I've fed them. So I'm
right.
responsible. But if I'm accountable, I'm thinking, like, wait, how do I want their health to be? They have no
Exactly.
money. They
Love
don't buy
that.
food. It's only I'm the one who buys them the food. So if they're fat
Yeah.
and unhealthy, that's me not
Mhm.
doing my job as a parent. I'm accountable for
Mhm.
what I feed them. Also, if I want them to grow up and be responsible adults, they need to learn how to cook. So they
Right.
should help me cook and set the table and clean and wash dishes. So they learn that life isn't free and easy. You have to work for it, that we share the responsibilities together. And then when we have the food, Some kid doesn't like broccoli. She doesn't like pork chops. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Eat it. It's food. I want
Right.
you to learn to try other things and to be thankful. And so not only you eat it without complaining, but you'll be thankful and you'll thank
Yeah.
me for the food. So there's a thing you're doing as an adult to proactively do things to get the result you want. That is accountability versus just throwing a happy meal at them.
Right. I love that and great example of that. I love that. And that's gonna lead me into this next question because you're right. Like when we talk about accountability, it automatically adds pressure to people. Like nobody wants to hear the word accountability because it seems like it's a bad thing, like you said.
Yeah.
Like it's just not like this positive word, but how do you reframe it to make it a place like you said where it opens up the doors for freedom and
Yeah.
personal growth?
So it's not a bad thing. It's not a threat. You shouldn't be worried when someone talks about accountability because nobody can hold anyone accountable. I cannot hold you accountable because you could
Wow.
lie to me. And if I say, "Hey, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, right?" Yeah, I'll do that. And then you don't do it, but you lie. I've not held you accountable. And even in our workplace, we say we're going to hold our employees accountable. You can't. I can say, here's the rules, here's your job, do your job. If they don't do it, what do you fire them? You're going to
Right.
run around firing everybody every time they
Right.
don't do
Or
something?
if you're gonna be there with them
You
24/7
got
to
nobody to work for you
right.
anymore. And so if I do fire you, then I'm the one being accountable because they left and took their lack of accountability somewhere else. So
Mhm.
really what you want to do is create a world where people want to be accountable.
Wow.
I want my son to look at his homework and go, look, this is for me. Now I know that's a mature perspective, but
Mhm.
you've got to start teaching your kids the realities. Listen, you own the effort towards your homework. You own it. Therefore, you have the power to do something about it. In my own story, we talk about this in our book, Nobody Cares Until You Do, that
Mhm.
we owed $90,000 in debt. That did not include the house or the cars. And at
Wow.
some point, my beautiful wife Kathy and I looked at each other in the spring of the January of 2019. We said, "Look, we're not living the life we want."
Right.
And a lot of this really came from our lack of accountability to our finances. And so we just decided that that year, if things didn't turn around, we were going to sell the house and start over. All year long, we're praying, Lord, please bring that bag of money and pay off all this debt. We do not want to sell this house. We love this house. Well, it didn't work out that way. And in September, we committed, okay, it's not working the way we had thought it might somehow maybe work out. And so we decided to sell the house. So we did. We sold the house and we used all that money to pay off all of our debt and start over. And the freedom that we
Wow.
experienced by owning that situation, by making tough decisions, by owning the outcome, the effort, all that stuff, we owned it all. We fixed the problem and we had such peace and such joy that it inspired us to go and work on our marriage, work on our
Right.
faith, work on our friendships and our finances to stabilize it so we can be not getting back into the hole in the future. But I tell you, once you learn to be truly accountable, it will free you up in all areas of your life.
And I love that because it doesn't involve other people. It's like it's you. You know what I'm saying? Like just you have to
Well, it
choose.
does involve other people, but they don't do it for you. Again,
Right.
to me,
Right.
that's freedom because let's say you're not any good and I'm counting on you to do it for me.
Right.
Well, now I've got problems of counting on you to do stuff that I need to own. But if I own it, I believe in me. Now, if I don't know how
Right.
to do it and I still own it, I can
Then
reach out to
you
you and say, "Will
right.
you help me? Because I know you're really smart. Will you help me with this?" But I still own it. Therefore, I have the control over
Yeah.
it. People don't like stuff where they're out of control. Don't give up
Right.
your control. You own it, but you can invite people in
Yeah, you
to
have
get
to
smarter.
choose to. Yeah,
That's
you
right.
have to choose to.
That's right.
A lot of times, and sometimes it's like the Holy Spirit will just lead us. So I hope you're okay with that.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
a lot of times people don't see the necessity of being accountable if it's not something that's gonna affect them in the moment. So
That's
what
so
will you
naive.
tell people who they don't want to be accountable now
Right.
because they feel like it's not going to affect the now?
Yeah, that come on. I mean, when we were kids in school, maybe we thought like that, but
Right.
everything you do affects something. There's a ripple effect in everything you do. When I was a kid, I got away with things.
Right.
Okay. But getting away with not doing my homework made me a bad student
Right.
with a lack of intelligence, with a lack of discipline. And so though maybe I got away with it, I now had to live with who I was because of that laziness. I
Wow.
got away with not paying the government for years and years and saying, well, I'll pay you next year. I'll pay you next year, until I owed them so much. They said, the next time I'm going to garnish your wages and we're going to take control of your checking account. Oh, that's serious. That's a thing. And
Right.
so you need to think about when you kick it down the road a little bit longer, which is one of the traps we talk about in the book.
Mhm.
When you kick it down the road, it doesn't go away. It just
It
gets worse
does.
down the line.
Right. Right. And but even though you're saying that, people still avoid it and they resist it because they don't want to face it. Do you what will you say to people who feel like it's just difficult? Like I want to avoid this,
Well,
I want to
everything's
resist it.
difficult. I mean, there are two ways to have hard in your life: hard being a victim or
Wow.
hard being a victor. I would
Wow.
rather have hard being a victor. So for us, it was hard to sell our house. It was embarrassing to have to admit to people we owed $90,000 in debt
Mhm.
and we're starting over. It was embarrassing to have to sell our furniture for pennies on the dollar and wheel my
Right.
dining room table down the street to my neighbor who bought it for me
Yeah.
for nothing.
Wow.
All these things that we had to go through, big deal, first world problems. I get it. But you have to own this process because uh, there's freedom on the other side. And
Yeah.
when you stay as a victim, it's hard. And when you go through the challenges to fix your life, it's hard. I prefer hard that leads me towards being a victor.
Right. And an easier path. Like once
It's
you
still a
do
hard path either
But
way.
once you do what's hard, then you get more balance. Like you
That's
have to do the hard things first to, make
yeah.
that path a little more straighter for you. So what would you tell somebody would be the first steps if they want to say, if they're saying, you know what, I'm listening, y'all. I'm just gonna dive out. I'm gonna choose to start taking the first step of being accountable. What would you say to them?
The first step is to be aware of where you're not being accountable. We
Wow.
hold ourselves a victim in four ways when it comes to accountability. We blame, we make excuses, we say we can't do anything about it, or we wait and hope. Now, we've done all four of those things all our lives. When I got in trouble as a kid, I blamed my brother. When I wasn't doing good in school, I made excuses for why I couldn't do it. When I'd say I can't do something about it, it took the heat off. Well, if you can't do anything about it, I guess you're just screwed. But then
Yeah.
it left you as a victim. And the last one was, well, maybe next year will get better. Maybe next year. And it just gets worse and worse. So we saw all four of those in our own journey. And the way that you become aware of where you're playing a victim is you go to our website and take the satisfaction assessment. Go to
Okay.
nobodycaresbook.com. And for free, you can take the assessment. We don't ask your personal information. And we want you to be honest with yourself. Are you not happy with your marriage? Are you not happy with your finances? Have you walked away from your faith with the Lord? What's
Wow.
going on in your own personal and professional life? Just score it, and then ask why. And
Right.
once you look at the why, you go, well, my parents were mean to me. Okay. The economy's bad. The president's horrible. Okay. I don't like my boss. Okay.
Right.
What are you going to do about it? And when you come to the what are you going to do about it, that's when you blame, make excuse, say I can't do
Mhm.
anything about it, or wait and hope it gets better. We have found that when you own it and you take control of it, you can do something about it. It
Right.
may be effort, it may be hard, but now you're on the start to the road of real accountability and the power that comes with that.
I love that. Now, we're going to have to talk deeper about this wait and hope, because of as a believer myself, and I know you are a believer, many believers just wait. They just like, I'm waiting on God. They put it
Yeah. Yeah.
completely on Him. So let's talk about
Sure.
what
I
part
learned this a
they have
long time ago. I learned this many years ago. It's called active waiting.
to.
And the reality is, God cannot steer a ship that isn't moving. And so
Wow.
as you wait, like a farmer doesn't just sit there and go, well, where's the crops? The farmer goes and plows the field, puts the seed in the ground, waters it, pulls the weeds, get the birds and the critters away, and then takes care of it until he harvests the results.
Mhm.
You in your own life, you do not know how many ears of corn will grow on the things that you do. It could be two, it could be 100. We
Mhm.
don't know. But the reality is you have to own the effort. You have to
Right.
proactively do something for God to be able to say yes. And
Yes.
so if you have a problem with your job and you don't know what to do about it, God is not going to just go, well, let me just bring you a job.
Mhm.
It rarely happens. You have to put
Right.
some effort into it. And when he brings it to you, if you're not open to it, you may miss it entirely.
Anyway,
So
yeah.
you're engaged in this whole process, but
Mhm.
trusting in the Lord is doing the best of your ability and leaving the results to God. And it
Amen.
still requires you do the best of your
Right.
ability because that's
Right.
what God has called us to be. We should be the best workers, the best employee, the best parent, the best friend, because we work in the power of the Spirit of God. We
Right.
can do all these things. We can do everything He's brought our way through the power of God. So we should be the best.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Thank because that's so true. A lot of times people don't, waiting in the waiting, we have to be doing. And
Mhm.
people just think waiting means idle. And that is not what that means. That's
No,
not what that means. So you talk about your balance between leadership and purpose and just balancing life out. So, can someone really have work and life balance? Is that even possible?
no, no. The reality is it does not work. We have tried it for years and years. We as business owners get very consumed in the work we do. And you as an employee or you as a business owner, you all have
Mhm.
the same experiences. But the reality is there is no such thing as work-life balance.
Mhm.
But what there is work-life integration, where we
Okay.
become one person everywhere. And that is the challenge, is that you have to practice being one person everywhere so that you can seamlessly go from work to personal life back and forth at any time, and it's not a big deal. The
That,
problem
yeah.
we've not dealt with is the lack of margin that needs to be created to be able to pull that off well. And so we've dealt with this in our CEO groups where we challenge business owners, look, you're on overload all the time. And
Right.
most people in the world live on overload. You overload your time, you
Mhm.
overload your finances, you
Mhm.
overload your health. All of those things overload your emotions. And we're just running around pissed off at everybody
Right.
because we've just overloaded
Absolutely.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I teach my clients to do is to create a room where there's room for the unexpected. That's called margin.
That, yeah.
Whatever I'm currently going to carry allows me to stay below my limit. So when something goes wrong and the train goes off the track, I
Mhm.
can deal with that for a while. I get it
Right.
back in line and I cool it down. But if you max out your life and you live at the top of it, when anything goes wrong, and it always goes wrong, you're now on overload. And that is not the way that you can live the life with creativity, with energy. You're not productive, and it's no fun.
Wow. I love that. It just messes up everything.
Yeah.
So, and that'll lead us into our next question. For people who are listening, who are right at that point where they're overloaded, they're overwhelmed. So, they're feeling behind. What would you tell them? What's the simple truth that you would tell them about taking ownership and navigating through their sense of being overwhelmed?
Sure. You have created the life you have today. Yes, there are circumstances that happen to you. And in many cases, you may have been victimized, but you do not have to stay a victim. You
Love
have a
that.
choice to look at all these things and decide, what do I do next? I grew up in a very poor family, and my
Mhm.
father beat my mom and all of us kids. And I grew up with that fear and the problems I had through that journey. But I'm not a victim. I've
Right.
been redeemed and restored by the God of the universe who loves me.
Amen.
And my
Yeah.
life has been laid out for good works and for the things that were planned even before I was born. So we have to take this mindset of staying as a victim and get rid of it. And the only thing that's going to motivate you is when you're tired of where you are trying to optimize a crappy life, step back and actually look at your life and go, what do I want my life to look like? And if you're not happy with where it's at, do something about it. Own it. You have the power and the authority because it's your life. And if you
Right.
do that, everything is open to you. This is not a prosperity gospel mindset.
Right.
This is one that says it's going to take hard work and you
Right.
may have to make hard decisions, but God can strengthen you and guide you and equip you as you take on full accountability for your life.
I love it. And it leads me. I want to ask you this question because in taking ownership and accountability, you will experience moments of failure. But
Mm.
how does that play a part in still taking that accountability? So,
Yeah. Everyone falls, no matter. And we've had problems in this whole journey ourselves. One of the requirements for real accountability is vulnerability. If
mm,
you're not vulnerable, you can really never be accountable. So you
mhm,
have to invite people into your life They don't hold you accountable because no one can hold anyone accountable, but they walk the journey with you of what you want to do in your life. And they have to be someone who really supports you the way that you want to be supported.
Mhm.
Frankly, a lot of our friends, because they don't like the decisions they make of their own, they try and make you stay in your brokenness
Yeah.
because then it makes them feel better about their bad
Yeah.
decisions. You have to find a friend who will say, when you tell them, hey, I'm going to work on this and change my life, they go, good for you. How do I help you? If your friends go, no, you're fine, don't try it, that's not the friend you want asking for input. But you invite people in your journey who will believe the better version of you and will be there to encourage you in that journey. And it does take time, but if you surround yourself people when you with other good people, when you fall, you won't be falling alone and you won't be falling down for long because there'll be someone there to help you up.
I love that. Now, listen, Robert, what is, a few nuggets you would want to leave the audience, before we
Yeah,
leave?
we talk about in our book, it's kind of a workbook where at the end of every chapter, we say, go back to your satisfaction assessment and now look at that and see what are you doing. And we want you to really think about how am I applying the principles in each chapter. One of
Mhm.
the key things you can do to make you aware of things is to change your but to an and. When you make an excuse for why you can't do something, then you say, well, I want to go start a new company, but I don't have any money. Change the but to an and. I want to start a new business and I don't have any money. So what does that say? Well, I've clearly got direction. I need to go get money.
Right.
The and
Yeah.
tells you where to go. The
Mhm.
but says, well, you're screwed. You can't do anything
Yeah.
about it.
To
Yeah.
stop.
But the
Right.
and
Yeah.
is okay, let's get going. Let's get to it.
Yes.
So be aware of whatever you're making excuse for. I could never take a job that pays me less money than the one that I would really like working at.
Mhm.
Well, then spend less money.
Right.
You don't have to make more money. Listen, I've been able to live on very little. We have
Yes.
changed our lifestyle. We still live in the house that we moved into when we sold our home, and we've been putting money away to rebuild our future.
Right.
So
Yes.
you can. I lived with one car. My wife and I shared a car for 3 years.
Yes.
You can do whatever you put your mind to. So there's one thing: is change the but to an and the other one is when you say I can't do something, change it to I won't. If I tell you, hey, I can't do something, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, I understand. But if I
Right.
say I won't, you go, well, why not? And
Right.
now I have to explain, well, why am I saying
I
this?
love
Because
that.
that's an
Yeah.
excuse that I'm using, but it's really not truth. I just don't want to do it. I don't
Right.
want to have a hard decision. I don't want to give up my lifestyle. I don't want to deal with these issues. So if you can change it to I don't want, it makes it really apparent that you are free to do something. Now you just have to convince yourself that it's worth the effort.
I love those nuggets. Thank you so much. Tell the audience how they can find your book and how
Yeah.
they can find you, period, on social media or your website. Throw that out for them.
You can go to find our book at nobodycaresbook.com. And in there, you can take the satisfaction assessment for free. You can order copies of our book. We autograph it and send it out to you along with a bookmark. And more importantly, is we want to get you in our database so that you can share your story with us. When you send us a copy of your satisfaction assessment, we want to know how your journey goes and support you along the way. So nobodycaresbook.com. And then you can find me. You can send me an email. Tell me what this podcast meant to you and some of your questions. I'll answer every single email that comes my way.
I love it, Robert. Well, I have so much to chew on. Like in this time frame, I feel like we've covered so much. And I don't know about my audience, but I'm going to do my own self assessment and I'll have to check you out on your website to see if it's some areas where I need to, get myself together and be more accountable. Thank you so much for coming on From the Gutter to Growth, where we want to see people heal, whole, and growing. Until next time, audience, be blessed. Bye bye. All right.